you know, because it's a time kind of for something new. And the bees, you see them bees out there. And them bees, baby, them things, they, you know, I saw a bee the other day because they're out there pollinating. And they're pollinating, bro. And that's when they're basically, you know what I'm saying? They out there, you know, they listening to Cardi B. They're out there. They're on spring break, baby. When they're pollinating, they're on spring break. They're out there. I saw one bee fly right out of one flower and right into another. Didn't even wash his hands after being in the first one. I said, that's a lot for me, you know? And he just went one right into the next one. Just cheating on a tulip with a daffodil. He didn't even, you know? And I could see he kind of stopped on the edge of the tulip. He's like, yeah, I'm going to call you. I'm going to holler at you. You know? I'm going to get at you. I got to go to work or something. And then he kind of buzzed one way and then skirt, bam. And he was laid up with a couple daffodils over there, boy. Because bees, they don't, you know, they just trying to get their rocks off out there. That's the truth. But we need them. We need bees out there. You know, I ain't trying to be a snitch, but I saw a bee and a wasp running a little 2-man over there with a couple bougainvilleas. You know, and them villias was booging, homie. I mean, shorty had some petals on her. You know what I'm saying, gang? I'm upstairs. But yeah, the springtime, man, I like the springtime. I like it because it just gives me a reminder just that there's something new can happen. That there's a refresh. You know, that there's possibility. There's, you know, just that something new can happen. And I really like that. I like the springtime. And that's how I feel about it. And we went over to Supercross. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Supercross. You know, because there's, you know, we all know there's the cross, and that's what Jesus died on. And that's the most popular one. But, you know, and a decent ways down from that, but still out there is Supercross. And that, you know, I didn't know anything about Supercross. I don't know if you know anything about it, but if you don't know anything about it, then that's how I am. Then we're the same because I didn't know anything about it, bro. But those bikes, man, I went to Nissan Stadium. And Nissan Stadium, I thought you go in there, it's just a bunch of Nissans trying to, you know, looking for a place to park, or a bunch of Asian dudes with a bunch of tricked out Nissans in there, you know? Because Nissan is Asian. People don't realize that. People think it's just a word that doesn't even mean anything, but it's Nissan. Yeah, that's Asian, bro.